You're listening to the CIP podcast, the Study ABROADcast, Season 3, Episode 3. I'm your host, Jacqueline. In this show, we'll explore the world of study abroad, offering advice, insights, and travel stories, bridging perspectives and cultures along the way. On this episode, we'll be speaking with one of our incoming exchange students about what it's like to study abroad at the University of Guelph. Let's get right into it. Today on our show, we're pleased to welcome Holly. To get us started, Holly, can you tell our listeners a little about yourself?
Hi, my name is Holly. I'm a third-year English student and I'm on exchange from the University of Aberdeen, which is in Scotland. And some of my hobbies, like in my spare time, I love reading and I love writing.
Thanks, Holly. Welcome. And I guess a first question, what made you want to come to Canada and the University of Guelph on exchange?
So first of all, I was interested more specifically in coming to Ontario because for art students like myself, I would like to be involved with TV and film. To me, like Guelph was such an inviting university because I felt like it has such a great international community. And there's a lot of like unique courses for English that I really haven't seen offered anywhere else. And they just have like a really great variety of ways that they test you on it.
It's true, there are some really cool courses here. But I guess outside of academics, what is one of your favorite things that you've done in Guelph so far?
So I love to go to downtown Guelph, especially during the day. I like all the stores and the kind of cafe culture. My favorite place to go to is probably Old Quebec Street, which is like a cute little mall. Because I've never been up to Quebec before, so it was cool to like see the aesthetic and everything that's in there.
That mall is really pretty, and it does feel like you're transported somewhere else with all of the brick and the lights and everything. So definitely recommend checking it out. Yeah. So now that you're here, what's something that you wish you knew before you actually got here?
So I would say that I wish I knew how different the education model would be. I didn't think there would be as many assignments as what there are back at my own university. There's only a couple scattered throughout the semester, and they have a different kind of weight attached to each of them. So especially in the first week, there was a lot to do and a lot to prepare for. So I should have looked maybe a bit more into how different the education models actually are.
Yeah, I know a lot of incoming exchange students will say that like they're surprised by the amount of tests, quizzes, assignments, group projects, all of these things that are just almost on a weekly basis sometimes it feels. Did you have any concerns about coming on exchange and how did you deal with that? And how do you feel now that you're actually here?
So I would say I was a little bit worried about feeling like an outsider and becoming very lonely and not really having anyone to relate to. I felt quite lucky that like the international orientation program set up a group chat for everyone going on exchange to reach out to one another before we even landed in the country. So that was like really helpful. And also, the orientation program had us so busy right from the beginning. We just kind of threw ourselves into it, and I got to meet a lot of people, and that calmed me down and relaxed me.
Yeah, Start International is a great time to just kind of meet everybody, learn everything. I know we're just in the middle of planning for the upcoming Start International, and I'm looking forward to welcoming some more students to campus. So you already talked a little bit about this, but I'm wondering if you just have anything else you want to add. How does the academic system compare to what you're used to in Scotland?
What I noticed is over here, certainly as an English student, when I write papers and submit essays, at Guelph, they're much more focused on applying knowledge and skills that you already have and are more focused on ideas. Whereas back at the University of Aberdeen, there's more prioritizing formality and professionalism and kind of deep philosophical ideas and trying to really dig them out as opposed to applying the skills. So I would say that like they're both kind of balanced in terms of the level of difficulty and what they do. It's just different skills ultimately.
I guess that's a good thing of coming on exchange is you get a little bit of both. So students oftentimes look to save money when they're on exchange. So do you have any tips for students who come to Guelph about how they might save some money while they're here.
For saving money, I would say definitely, first of all, save as much as you can, especially after you've paid for all of the essentials before you come, because you never know how much traveling you're actually going to do or what kind of friends you're going to get, if they're going to want to go out or if they're going to go on adventures. You never really know what's in store. I would also say at your own university to look into any of the financial schemes. Like, I know that Aberdeen offers a grant to students, and this is really helpful for spending, whether that be like food or for your little trips. And I would also say to kind of try and roughly plan out how much money you might think you need each month and stick to it the very best that you can.
Yeah, that's some good advice. And I like when you mentioned that to save up before because you don't know what you're going to plan when you get here, because it's so true. So many students, once you get here, you meet all of your friends, and then that's when the planning really starts. Definitely some good advice there. In terms of cultural adjustment, what was your biggest adjustment when it came to living in Canada?
I would say generally trying to fit in with Canadians and their conduct, because Canadians are known for being extremely friendly and very considerate. And so, like, back home in Scotland, people are very respectful, but I find that Canadians are very open and very expressive and bold. And it was trying to kind of match their energy, I guess, and trying to be equally as friendly and considerate.
That's a funny point. Definitely can be difficult to fit in with the locals sometimes. I don't know about you, but I find that most times exchange students end up friends with other exchange students. Has that been the case for you?
Yes, I would definitely say because we sort of arrive at the same time, we tend to come closer to other exchange students. And if we're like need help or advice at any point, they're the best people that you can relate to. But I would say that I've met like a number of Canadians and I've got a number of friends now, and they definitely help with trying to fit in a way that I didn't think they'd be able to help because they're from here. So it's good to have friends from kind of both situations and two standpoints.
Well, I'm glad to hear you've been able to kind of bridge that gap and make friends with both groups of students. And so, what's one thing that you would suggest people pack for their exchange in Guelph?
Honestly, lots of home comforts. Like, exchange is so much fun and it is thrilling. But if you ever get lonely or homesick, it's so good to have things that remind you of home. Like, I would say a favorite book or photos of loved ones or like a blanket or even like a stuffed animal or something. I don't know. But just something that will always keep you kind of grounded and centered and feeling safe all the time.
I like that point because I think a lot of people talk about how much fun exchange can be, and they don't necessarily mention that it can be difficult at times or that you do miss home, and that's okay. And so to bring some things as a reminder can definitely help. So, in terms of support, how did CIP help you transition as an exchange student?
I felt like when I was back in Scotland, they were very quick at answering my emails and all the questions that I had. And I had a lot of them because I wasn't too sure what I was like walking into. And I just felt like they did understand the kind of stress and the process of trying to get abroad in the first place. So that was really useful. I feel like they really kind of came down to my level and kind of understood just how much I needed to know certain information and how much advice I was needing.
Well, I'm glad to hear we were able to support you. I know, like we do this every semester and we're happy to do it. A lot of us have studied abroad ourselves or done our own kind of traveling, so we understand the nerves and everything you have to find out. So I'm glad we were able to help you out there, Holly. So I have one final question. Do you have any final advice for students who may be interested in studying abroad at the University of Guelph?
I would say don't be afraid to throw yourself in. Like, it can be scary stepping outside of your comfort zone. And I know because I'm like a total introvert and I haven't always been involved in like big groups of friends. I've always kind of stuck to myself. But if you make yourself open to meeting new people and see this as like a fresh transition or a fresh start in a way, and try and get involved from the beginning, meeting people, seeing what activities and staff are there to do or speak to, then I feel like you'll really feel a part of the whole community and the whole thing. And that makes you feel like included and just overall really happy on your experience.
I love that advice. Well, that's all for today's episode of the Study Abroadcast. Don't forget to explore your own study abroad opportunities on the CIP website uoguelph.ca/CIP or follow us on Facebook or Instagram. Our Instagram handle is CIP_Guelph. Thanks for listening, and thanks to Holly for sharing their advice, insights, and travel stories. Stay tuned to our next episode where we will unpack the study abroad